a little bit of consideration in your health. Food is medicine. That's a very deep Korean thought. And I think if you just put a little thought into what you put into your body, you could have a better quality of life.
Welcome to Culinary Medicine Recipe. I'm so happy you're here. I'm your host, Dr. Sabrina Falquier. I was a primary care doctor for 16 years and went to school for 4 years to specialize in culinary medicine. In this work, I get to combine my passion and expertise in both medicine and food to teach people about food as medicine and to empower them to understand what ingredients optimize health and also how to cook those ingredients to make delicious meals. On this show, I interview top chefs, doctors, healthcare visionaries, and food service professionals who are making great strides in the field of culinary medicine. Join me as we continue to explore the amazing world of culinary medicine, where I will empower you to make changes to your health and wellness with great food right away. Welcome to today's episode. Culinary medicine is fundamentally about empowering people to achieve better health through nutritional knowledge and culinary literacy, as I've spoken about many times. A key aspect of this is encouraging more home cooking. There's absolutely nothing wrong with using convenience products in the kitchen, as long as we're mindful of their quality. That means choosing items made from minimally processed ingredients with simple, recognizable components and avoiding those loaded with additives. It also means being cautious with salt levels and paying attention to the type and quality of oils that are used in the product. Being a little bit more aware of what goes into our food, we can make home cooking easier and healthier without sacrificing taste or convenience. Today's guest co-created a product that helps people do just that. Chef Lee has deep-rooted passion for food and hospitality. He has a career that has included Michelin-starred kitchens, executive dining, and entrepreneurial ventures, where he's led teams, streamlined operations, and crafted exceptional dining experiences. Welcome, Chef Suhan. I am so happy to have you here to have this great conversation. So how your career has moved is incredibly interesting to me. Tell us how you went from being in the U.S. Marine Corps into becoming a chef.
I've always had a passion for food. I cooked at home. I made Thanksgiving dinner every year from when I was a little kid until I became an adult. I eagerly watched all those cooking shows on PBS on the weekends, and I worked in a bakery throughout high school. So I left college immediately after 9/11, and I enlisted into the Marine Corps. But unfortunately, I got injured, and I underwent several surgeries. And after each of them, I had to undergo a series of antibiotics. I ended up contracting meningitis as well, and I had to undergo treatment of very strong antibiotics to fight off the infection that was spreading through my body. After that, I developed IBS symptoms following all those treatments, and later on, I learned I had to change my diet to reduce inflammation.
So how did you put those two together? So you're getting all these strong antibiotics, you get IBS. How was the link made for you that food might make a difference to help you move in a healthier direction?
Yes, so the connection with the IBS and the food, I didn't immediately make it. It took a very long time, actually. I didn't recognize the IBS symptoms until it became chronic. I would eat something and, I was eating a lot of not so great foods. I started having a lot of gut issues. And so then it wasn't until I studied a little bit of biology and I learned about the gut microbiome and leaky gut and all these things that I read a study on these diets that they were showing to help improve these symptoms. So that was a big aha moment where I was seeing a lot of whole foods. And so I started incorporating a lot of that and my symptoms lessened a lot.
Did you take these biology classes because of how you were physically feeling or separately, and then you started making the connection?
The biology came much later on. I was interested in figuring out what was wrong with me. So that's why I started to get interested in biology. I actually got my degree and I concentrated on neurobiology and also the gut brain axis. So that was a huge thing for me.
So for those of our listeners, just to give a 101 on what antibiotics do to the microbiome and what the microbiome is. So the microbiome is the healthy bacteria in our gut or our intestines. And the goal is for that bacteria to have a lot of diversity, so that to be a lot of different kinds, and also for them to be as healthy as possible. So what we eat can either help that bacteria be healthy or hinder it. And antibiotics are something that really affects the microbiome. And kind of the simplest way to describe it is if you have these really healthy bacteria and you give it antibiotics, not only is it killing the bacteria you want it to kill, like in Chef Suhan's case, the meningitis and these other infections that you had, but it also kills the healthy bacteria that we want to keep around in our intestines. So what happens is it affects how healthy our microbiome is, meaning how many bacteria they are and how healthy they are. And one of the things that the microbiome creates, it's this barrier or this mucus layer between our intestines where the food goes through and the inside of our body. And if that mucus layer is really thin, it causes our body to absorb things that it's not meant to absorb, which some people experience something like leaky gut. So that's just to give a 101.
I like to look at it as a whole body thing, a very holistic view. You have all these systems that interact with each other. So you might not know that something upstream might affect something else downstream. And whenever I see connections or people making these discoveries, it's really fascinating about how interconnected everything is in the body.
So you have this personal journey with your career and your health in multiple ways, and you discover food. When did the kitchen come back for you in a professional manner?
So when I was in recovery after my surgeries, I had about a year of rehab, and my career was pretty much over at that point. So I said, I asked myself, what do I want to do with my life? What do I really enjoy? And I said, I love cooking. And I was like, I would love to go to culinary school. Let's see. The dream is to become an executive chef. That was the dream. So as soon as I was able to, went into culinary school. I loved every second of it. It was just a great time. And that's when I entered the kitchens. I live in New York City. Well, then I lived in New York City. Now I live in Long Island. But being in the city, I had access to all these top restaurants, legendary restaurants. And I got to be inside of them, work in them. And through that experience, I was able to really hone flavor, learn how to layer things, how to really get technical with my cooking. And that's what I think I bring to the Get Saucy.
So where does Brian come in? Where does a co-founder of Get Saucy come in? How did your worlds collide?
Yes. So with Brian, we actually connected through mutual people. He was on this quest to be able to make sauces that are easy for him to make, or sauces that of his favorite cuisines. He has a very broad global cuisine palette. And because of his Crohn's, he's unable to have any of his favorite foods. So, I'm sure you're aware there's the bland diet. The autoimmune protocol, very simply, is a diet that is restrictive in tree spices, seeds, nightshades. All of these kind of contribute to layering flavors. So either you have to spend a lot of time to cook your own foods because they're not as easily available, or you have to have a chef that is well versed. And even that is kind of difficult to find. So through that, it was almost a challenge to see who could make tikka masala, one of his favorite dishes. So he has tried hiring many chefs, and they were unable to do it. Mind you, it's quite difficult, but I really enjoy a challenge, especially ones that seem impossible. So I jumped on this opportunity, and I was able to deliver a tikka masala that would be approximate to a tikka masala that you would get in a restaurant. So an easy to make, complex, flavorful sauce that you can easily make a meal in 15 minutes.
So speaking of the tikka masala, my family enjoyed a delicious meal last night. And I'm looking at the ingredient list and I'm comparing that to what is traditionally in a tikka masala. So please take us into your culinary chef brain. Yeah, so how did that process, without giving away your trade secrets, but how does your brain work in a situation like this? Because some of the swaps are giant, like tomatoes aren't in there, and that's a typical in tikka masala. So what are you willing to share? Because it is really good. Y'all enjoyed it. It was 3
Thank
generations
you.
and we're all thumbs up on it.
That's awesome. I really, that, I really love that feedback. So for me, in any given dish, trying to translate it over to, autoimmune protocol diet friendly version, I, identify what makes a tikka masala. And to me, it's tomatoes, it's cumin. That's probably the biggest flavor out of the garam masala, the spice blend. A lot of warmth, earthy flavors, and a creaminess. So once I identify those, then I kind of try to work backwards. It's not a one for one substitution because that's just not possible. So what happened was I actually had worked on doing a tomatoless marinara first. And once I was able to nail that and utilize the layers of the tomato compounds that we use, other flavors that have a lot of umami in it, like seaweeds. We use several seaweeds, 3 seaweeds, that have these flavor compounds that are found in tomatoes, just minus the inflammatory skin, solanine found in nightshade. So with the tomato as base, and then it was just a matter of figuring out how to layer different flavors and still capture the spirit of what it is, right? So once we got approximation, I would taste test with my neighbors. I have some Indian neighbors that are very generous with their time, and they love to give me tips. Their parents live nearby too, and they would tell me, oh, this tastes just like they're from the southern part of India, and they're like, this is something I would expect to get over there. So, once I was starting to get the green light, I was like, all right, we have something. And, it was just a matter of Brian tasting it. And he tells the story of how it brought him back to a date with his wife at his favorite Indian restaurant. And that, it sparked that connection. So, it made him really happy. And that's, I think, the core part of what we're trying to do is to bring joy back to eating. It also reinforces the ability to stick with the diet because if you have all these bland foods, it's really difficult because it takes the enjoyment part out of it. So it's hard to sustain it.
I have another culinary medicine chef MD friend, and she said when people were taste testing for her cookbook, when stories started coming out or memories started coming out after they'd eaten the food, that's when you know that she'd gotten it. And what you're describing with Brian with the tikka masala sounds like you got just that. So that must have felt really good.
Oh yeah, he calls it the ratatouille moment where it just brought him back, and yeah.
I love it. If this was a video podcast, I feel like there'd be the bubble of the ratatouille moment right about now over our heads. The part I also want to emphasize is anyone can enjoy it, even if you don't have dietary limitations or specific foods that you need to avoid. Yet, because it is so well tailored for the allergens and different, like the autoimmune protocol, it is so. I keep thinking about ways that to get people to know this product. So if a healthcare department who works with people with Crohn's disease that do need autoimmune protocol or who have to avoid nightshades, to be able to know about this as a resource. So really looking at it as a resource, just like you would have resources for physical activity or going to the gym, of here's a resource that can help one relax and get people into the kitchen. What you said, not only of the joy and being able to make meals that have these complex flavors, and also to help people relax, that if you're using something that's started and then you're adding your own, if it's animal protein or vegetables or plant-based proteins, that does not mean you're not eating something that's nutrient dense. I feel like a lot of people feel like if there's anything jarred or anything simply processed, that means it's no longer in the quote unquote healthy category. And I appreciate how being able to make a 15 to 20 minute meal on a busy day is fantastic. And it sounds like that was one of your goals, and that you've helped not only Brian, but now other people as well, which is really, really good.
I think that's probably one of the best points of our product is We give you something that, you can trust. It's free of the top 9 allergens, minimally processed. And we also try to keep the nutrient level as high as possible, balancing out food safety, of course, but having the ability to just reach in the pantry and access a whole bunch of different cuisines, that's kind of like our purpose.
That's so good. And I know you mentioned like the autoimmune protocol, and it can be really complex. So just for our listeners, there are some people that have dietary restrictions that are definitely something that you'd want to work with somebody who really knows nutrition and your healthcare team together. And the autoimmune protocol essentially is, to simplify it, an elimination diet where you eliminate most of the top foods that can cause inflammation or an autoimmune response, and then figure out which ones work for you. And for some people, it can be, some can tolerate some people can't tolerate any. And to, again, work with a team to help you figure out which work for you, and that it takes time. So it's not a quick process. And it's anytime you're doing any research, which in this case would be with one's body, is that you can only have one variable at a time. So if you're eliminating everything and then you're trying to figure out, can I tolerate nightshades or legumes specifically, to only add that on rather than all of them at once. And then the symptoms come back and you don't know what the variable is to work with.
The more people we can help eat food that won't cause them any issues and still enjoy it fully with their whole family, that's everything that the company is about.
If there's somebody in the household who has to eat a certain way, like certain limitations on the foods that they're able to eat, and then yet there's still 5 people to eat, that can make cooking really complicated. And having a product that not only is easy to use, but also that many people can cook. So I'm thinking, my teenagers could cook this, an elderly person or a busy household. It really doesn't limit it. And that's what's so huge about culinary medicine, is really the goal of getting people in kitchens and empowering them to know what is a product that I can feel comfortable with from my health standpoint, that I'm adding nutrient density, that it's going to be delicious, that it's going to be enjoyed by multiple people in the household, hopefully everyone in the household, and that it's getting people to do scratch cooking. So using a minimally processed food like this is not cheating, so to speak, and I'm doing air quotes with that. It really is a tool to get delicious food on the table. And one of the other parts I say is, there's not many people, I'm guessing, that have ever made tikka masala from scratch ever. And if they have had it, it's usually at a restaurant, most people. And if it's at a restaurant, what are the ingredients that are added that are happening behind the scenes, so in the back of the house? Whereas here, you guys are so fantastic about putting out there exactly what's in it. Like you mentioned the word clean ingredients. So being really upfront of using nutrient density, bringing out flavor. And that is something to hang your hat on, is to say, okay, I'm using a minimally processed food to go along with whatever ingredients I'm going to add. And then I'm going to feel really good about it. That's culinary medicine. That is getting scratch cooking on the table, helping people move the needle of their health forward. And I really cannot thank you enough for, I keep saying geeking out, but I just love the science of it. And I congratulate you, because I know I haven't said this, but I want to say it out loud, that I imagine you were quite young when you had to made that career swerve unexpectedly. And to not only go to culinary school, but it sounds like also the studying of biology took place in there somewhere, and to see what you're doing with your career now. So I love that yours and Brian's worlds collided, and that you were able to find what seemed like your path in life, that was the unexpected path. So I commend you for the work that you're doing.
Thank you so much.
As we're finishing up, how can people reach you?
Oh, they can reach me at email, suhan@getsaucy.com. I'm also on Instagram at Chef Suhan. I'm not really a social media person, but I'm learning. I think it's a great resource for reaching out to people. Also on LinkedIn as well, Chef Suhan Lee.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Chef Suhan. I really appreciate your time, and again, your expertise, and to be able to, for all of us to enjoy what otherwise could have been. You could have been a private chef for Brian alone, and you decided to share it with the rest of the world. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you for having me here. I think that a little bit of consideration in your health, food is medicine, that's a very deep Korean thought. And I think if you just put a little thought into what you put into your body, you could have a better quality of life.
I hope you feel motivated by this episode. Please leave us a rating and a review and mention our show to others who you think could use this information. That could be your doctor, it could be somebody who works in the food service industry who's interested in the health components, it could be a friend that is working on their health journey. If you want to hear more, please remember to follow Culinary Medicine Recipe on your favorite podcast listening platform. Until next time, salud and bon appetit. All content provided or opinions expressed in this episode are for informational purposes only and are not a substitute for professional medical advice. Please seek advice from your doctor or other qualified healthcare professional.
How to have fun anytime, anywhere. Step 1. Go to ChumbaCasino.com.
ChumbaCasino.com. Got it.
Step 2. Collect your welcome bonus.
Come to Papa welcome bonus.
Step 3. Play hundreds of casino-style games for free.
That's a lot of games. All for free?
Step 4. Unleash your excitement.
Woohoo!
Chumba Casino has been delivering thrills for over a decade. So claim your free welcome bonus now and live the Chumba life. Visit ChumbaCasino.com.